Hello everybody, I'm Alex, a co-founder of the 7-Bits company, which is busy with workflows, automation in logistics and project logistics in general. Having a lot of meets in the Netherlands, mostly about improving existing workflows for businesses or startups where we have understood some mutual things. Almost each small or medium business has a bottleneck or extra costs because of unstructured data. It could be improved by digitizing this data and making some parts of processes automatically or semi-automatically. They have not enough budget to create a perfect solution, custom solution for them. That is why we have created Tabbli, the no-code platform, which allows automating business workflows and arranges communication between people, no programming, based on the scenario and diagram, and working with flexible data structure. Easy to search and filtrate data, change it on the fly, import export without coding, working in browser and mobile app. Fresh data, always with you in the cloud. Let me introduce you, Oleg Korch, product architect of Tabbli.
I will share my screen now.
Okay.
Yes. At the left side, you can see a sidebar where different database are located. So we can create a lot of different databases with different data based on the same Tabbli instance. Database is a core concept of the Tabbli, and in each database we can create collections with the data. Here in that example, we can see three collections like cranes, categories, and orders. It is a very simple example because here we think that company has only equipment which we can describe like cranes. It could be all-terrain mobile cranes, could be telescopic ruler cranes or someone else, but cranes. It's not we do not collect here. Don't try to collect here cranes and ships and airplanes on cranes. Each collection could be created very easy just by clicking on the button like new collection and filling the form. Now we concentrated on what we has now. Okay, we have a collection like cranes and collection categories. Collection categories is very simple. It collects on the categories, a list of categories of equipment. And here, when we click options and click properties, we can see and can set up additional properties for each record inside the collection. So record collects a chunk of data, but collection collects a set of records. It's equivalent like collection. You can also think about collection like about tables. And such properties like name or key, each collection has out of the box. If we go into the cranes and click here, we can see that this collection is a little bit more complex. So using the button new property, we can add any number of properties which we need to describe our record in the collections in a structured way. So if we has categories, we can use one-to-many relation to link two collections between each other. Or we can use properties like float, for example, to create properties which will contain some numeric data about each record. So we can save such kind of data like lifting capacity, lifting height, boom length, and so on. So we can create such many properties we need, and we also can set up each property also like filterable. I click now so that you can see each property like filterable, for example, if we understand that this property is very important for us for search later. So we can so if a property is filterable, we can build we can use filtering after that for fast search the data, or we can click this checkbox and set up property like mandatory, or click here for make it like important property. So the value of the property will be shown on the collection interface in the table. Each of these options could be changed in any time. So I return to the collection view and see what we have now. Here we can see a data with sorry. We see a data with a number of values, and here on the right side we can see a block of the filters, and here we can see all properties we set up checkbox is filterable form. So we can use, for example, filters like this one for search equipment with proper lifting capacity, or we can use text search here for fast search for proper equipment. Each record we have inside the collection has own page in this interface where we can see details. We can also attach the images, and here we see a link to the category, because category is a collection which has a relation with cranes collection. We can click and also see all cranes in which has categories like all terrain mobile cranes. So company employee can work with data, can search it, can edit just by clicking new button, fill the form, and new information will be added to the database. Or in any moment we can edit all information which we already have in the database. And for each information, we also, not here, but when we modify some information, system also save the history of the changes. So you understand what you do, what you did. The next part of this use case, it's a orders collection. For example, I will show the structure first. So we created the collection, which called order. An idea is to create a collection where we can add the record, which collects information about which exact cranes we plan to use on some project or place or somewhere. Set up the date of the start of the project, the date of the finish, add in some notes, add some responsive manager of our organization, add in some contact email of person of another company, of the customer, name of the contact person, and so on. So we created this collection, and now we can do something like that. For example, if we need to, if company employee need to create some order for equipment, can just click the button, name it like no, like that. Select the cranes. Select the date, like for example, from 21st of November to 28th of November, for example. Add in some notes. Also, we can find the place, somewhere like that.
It will be dates of project and location of project where it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we can select responsive manager. I selected me. Contact email, can see something like a group inbox mail of our company for testing, and some name. Create a record. So we have a new record here. It's called sample installation. We have a page. We have links with cranes. We have information about dates and a map which shows the exact place. We can even click here and the Google Maps interface will be opened. Another interesting moment that I just received an email, and I received this email like responsive manager. It's by the fact that I selected myself like responsive manager here. And I received an email where that a new order has been created with start date, finish date, which exact cranes were selected with a links to the interface of this exact cranes, and information about contact person and order page. And how it works? That's because if we go into the collection interface, we can see another one of the key components of the Tabbli, which is called automation scenarios. Here, we can create describe some business logic what we should do as a reaction for some events in our system. For example, when some data has been changed. Or also we can create scenarios which could be started by scheduler. But here, I want to show this one. Created a simple scenario we called Notify Responsive Manager. And it is a trigger scenario which reacts on the event when new record has been added to this particular collection. Mm-hmm. And here we see a block which called send email. Here also the alternate interface where you can see just the diagram. So it's a pretty simple scenario. And when we click edit, we can see a template. Like so by using the special notation, we can set up variables. Like here in the sequence, we set up that we should send email to the responsive manager email. Here we describe the subject for the message, and here the template for the message. So we can create a template, and system will be will build the email automatically.
So you can show also some places. You can change this template for message, and everybody will see some different text.
Yep. Who will create these scenarios? Is it preset scenarios for a particular project, or somebody, or the user has to make scenarios himself?
That scenarios they're created during the creation the use case. Okay. Then when we created the solution, so it's based on type of collaboration between us and customer. So there could be options.
Okay.
Here, if we click the button New Flow Object, we can see that we have a set of different blocks which could be used as a scenario. It's sending email, running some expression like mathematical expression or logical expressions, querying data from the database, conditions, and I said loops and other. More than that, we can also see the history. So for example, we can see here that some debug information and log that scenario was launched. So it's useful for debugging. Again, for example, our manager, in this case me, want to change the nodes here, and I click edit and write something else, literally.
Another question to the when we in orders and we created new order, yeah. If we're going up in this order,
yes.
So the people when the people are there, yeah. When the person who some manager of the project should get some kind of access to the system, so all the customers should get the access to the system, and of course limited, and they can see only the orders menu, right?
Based on the particular case, again, it could be optional, because not all cases needs all this functionality.
Okay. The only why I'm asking, for example, I'm the manager of this construction site, and I'm getting from my supplier of the equipment, I'm getting this kind of I'm getting the link that I can use. All my team can use place the order. How do I know if you scroll it down when I choose writing? Sorry, up. Yeah. Simple installation, of course. I put the name of the project. Yeah, it's not. How do I know which cranes to choose?
Not sure that I understand that question really.
I have a project, but for me, cranes in this case don't have any matter. I mean, it's only the option to choose the cranes.
It's an interface for the employees of the company. It's not for the people outside of the company. So
still they have to remember which cranes they're choosing. How do they know which crane he chose?
I choose it from the list.
Yes, it's from the list. It could be customized.
Yeah, but from the list there is, for example, I have 900 of pieces of equipment.
If you have 900 pieces of equipment, our example will be a little bit more complex, because in that case, for such cases we have such components like computed properties, for example, when we I will show you a little bit later, when we can monitor, for example, if some equipment is already booked, for example, for some project, so we can change some information basically linked for this record, and you will see.
If I'm the of the company who has the crane, right?
Yeah. Yes. This particular use case, it's for small company which don't have
many cranes. But for example, I'm the employer of the company, and then I see, of course, categories. I see the cranes, and I know the orders. So from when I place in the order, when I place in the order, from this window where I see the Kabelko and Lipker in cranes choose, from this window, I should jump first to the menu cranes, choose the crane, and come back. That it will be here. I mean, or I have to go there, know the ID number of that unit which I choose because of the capacity.
Yeah, I understand.
And then
because you can have a lot of Lipher LTM 1100, but it's absolutely different units.
It can be ID connected or something like that.
Yes, I understand.
It could be just different interface for it, more complicated for it. You can choose it by filtration. If you have 900 equipment items, of course you need some filtration, some categorization, and the different parameters to choose the right crane, and it will be needed you choose this crane for this order. So it's different interface for it. But now we show a more simple interface to use.
Yeah. Of course, you also can just add the VIN number to the name of your equipment, or some another
ID number. Internal ID number or something.
Internal ID.
Internal, yeah, possible.
Okay, I continue. For example, as a responsive manager, I try to change the nodes here. Just imagine that this nodes field, it's like project status or something like that, when we can write some updates. So, and then I can click save. information was saved. Here on the history tab, we can see that who was modified the data. And now I try to return to the orders collection and show you another automation scenarios. Now, a new email was arrived, but here, as you can see, it's email which received on another email address, like in box.bits.com. It's a email which I was filled in the field contact person email. Hello, John Doe. That's my name, like contact person here. Your order sample installation has been updated, and here's a link.
Mm-hmm.
One moment, I concentrate on the scenario, and then go back to the message. Here we see another scenario, which called notify contact person. We start when message record added or modified. Click here. We can see that this scenario is a little bit more complex, because here we have condition because we don't want to send email when new record was created. We want to send email only when it was modified, and not just modified when particular property was modified. In our case, it's property which is called nodes was modified. And in this case, when expression is true, we have block again sending email. And so we have two different email templates. One email sending to the responsive manager of the company when new order has been created, and another email is sending to the contact person of somebody who are customer of the company, which is outside of the company. And here another interesting example. In the message, we can see a link. We can click here and show the public page. It's like page where a contact person can open in the browser and check the information about his project. All information which we want to show him. And it's absolutely dynamic page when we can.
So you can track any booking code here, yeah?
Yes. I will show now how it works. When we set up booking code, submit, we see the information of the particular order. How it works? First of all, in order collection, we have a property, a string property, which we created and call it like access code. Here we can see a label computed. So we can create the properties for any record which can updates automatically by some algorithm or some formula. We do not need to enter it manually. Here, this code creates a booking code like that. Okay. This one. Or we can open some other code. And we can check this one. And we can see information about some other order.
So it can be used just for clients, for example, and they
Yeah,
can enter to your website or some area where it exists for tracking this code. Okay, it's clear. Can you show, since we have orders list, and we should understand if some...
One moment, I am not finished.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yes, so as we can what we can see here, it's another key component of the Tabbli. It's a public pages and sites. So under the Tabbli instance, we can create public pages. We also even can attach custom domains for these pages. We can create now I see templates like this one. It's a HTML code, but with some tags where we can describe some additional logic. This file describes the form where client can put a booking code. And here we can describe the logic when we query in the database the proper order from the database with a specific booking code and show the information. These files can be operated directly from this web interface, so you don't need install anything on your computer. Everything works in your browser. You can even fix any file from your mobile phone. And here also we have such component like controllers where we can set up URL and link it with some template. Generally speaking, we can create pretty complex dynamic pages like private cabinets for the clients, like product catalogs or widgets which could be installed on other sites via in frames, for example, or something like that. It could be a pretty complex logic. And another moment which I want to show, it's also trying to return to the cranes collection and show you how we can use computed properties also in more specific way. For example, here we created a property which called busy, and it's a property with it's a Boolean property like true or false. And here we can use a pretty complex formula for querying the orders collection. Does this collection have some orders when starting date and finishing when today is between started date and finishing date? So when we have active order, which is actual for today. And we can set up here the algorithm, how we can compute it.
How often?
Click here. Yes, how often? For example, each 1 hour. So this the value of this exact properties will be updated all the time, and check we have we have actual orders for today. And here, for example, I can see busy. Oh, we have some busy equipment here. You can see here. And also we can see that if we have orders, in orders we have a record which connected with cranes collection. So we have also the other way for connect each record on the crane collection contains orders tab. So we can click here and see where for each order this particular crane was linked. And here we can see that starting date, finish date, starting date, finish date. Today we have 8th of November, so this order is actual for us. And also we can use such computed fields in the filters, so we can see yes here, for example, and we can select cranes which are busy for today, which are on the orders which are actual for today. Or we can select no and find the cranes which are not busy. So yeah, also yet another moment that we have an orders here. We can also select the proper ordering for the record in the collection. When we want, for example, if you want newer records to be on the top, so we can just use proper option. And we can add some meta columns for showing additional information like date when record was added, changed, something like that. Well, that was an overview of the equipment use case.
Can you make a few different settings of view? For example, one view settings to show some columns and different settings for some different columns and different properties, different.
Yes, of course. For example, for cranes, we can create something like at least view, something like cranes selected, and change
Everything.
And everything, for example, like predefined filters. We can write here something like if true, save config. And so now we have here only cranes which are busy.
And if you
we can click all records and we can see all cranes. So we can create a set of shortcuts, which when we have, for example, some standard scenarios.
Okay. And if we open one of the cranes, it doesn't matter, first one, second one, doesn't matter. Open any unit, and we go below. Okay, where the map was involved only in orders, right?
Yes, here we added on the orders.
Okay.
But it's just if we
property.
Yeah, we just need the property location.
Okay. The property location, can it be the property location, can it be integrated with some track and trace model?
Trace?
Track and trace. GPS.
Can be.
Can be, because Tabbli could work with systems outside with third-party systems via API.
Okay.
So it could be connected with any third-party systems. Yeah, and more than that, we have a few possible scenarios. Again, we can use API of the Tabbli itself. We can describe some custom web services based on the Tabbli public pages component if we need some specific API with specific business rules. And also, if we have all our computed properties, can works with HTTP requests. For example, if you have some public API in some third-party system where we can send a HTTP request and get some information like GPS coordinates, for example. If we have something like that, Tabbli can automatically check such API and upload this information to the database. Just in the record property, like a value, automatically. Each hour, each 2 hours, or once a day, it could be checked automatically.
For example, I have such a database for my equipment, yeah. And that I want to show part of it. I want to show to my customers, not by the giving them some kind of login in the system, but I want to show it really public.
On your website, yeah.
On my website, what kind of options I have to choose that it's related to website and it's database available and people see the stock or busy or something like that?
Yes. For current moment, we have public pages component when we have few options. It could be you can build a whole your site on the Tabbli platform itself, or if you already have existing site and you need to integrate some part where something like personal cabinet for the customer, we can implement these particular pages on the Tabbli platform and integrate to your site. That's an option. And after in one of the next releases, maybe in a month, I think in a month or month and a half, we also plan to use support. We plan to release a lot of improvements in access rights in Tabbli platform, when you can describe very detailed access rules for users in the Tabbli management interface. And this will allow you to open this interface also for people outside your organization, for by describing some rules, when each people will see the only information which will be related to himself, but will not show information which are related for the whole company, like your employees. But it's a more complex case.
So you can have something like a subdomain. Based on subdomain, you can apply for your website some additional features based on Tabbli. Yeah.
There are a few options.
Because there is if I have such a database, and it's quite easy to create database and then to share with not only with some colleagues or some users. There is a source, which for example, there is a source where I have my homepage of my company at Facebook, and I can, when I just making some, go to this special source and create website from my own page, from my Facebook page. So it will be nice to have such an option that, for example, if I have this kind of database, I don't want to show to my customers what I see on the screen right now. I want to see it's more like, this is screens, this is the orders, screens and orders. Simple go outside part, which can be visible, and of course they don't have to see everything, maybe everything.
Yes.
Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's possible right now with also with our little consultancy help.
Okay.
May I ask you, for example, you need some accessory set for each cranes. So we can add some different data here,
Yes.
And we can set this relation. So, for example, for cranes, we need some spare parts for order, or for just it should be equipped by this spare part, and we have to check if it put into order or not.
Yes. Again, it could be organized in or like additional collection, or in the same collection but with like another type of records. We have a very flexible database component because we understand that from one side, database is a core concept, and it's core concept for each. It's a core when you're trying to create something new. It's a first what you begin to do, like draw squares and lines on the sheets with a pencil, and trying to think about data structures. And here we have very flexible database component, because we also understand that without years of programming experience, it's not so easy to make some architectural decision. And this particular situation, it's one of that. because we can have different situation. For example, maybe order should be very complex when you should add not only cranes but also some, or maybe the company have not only cranes, we have also trucks, trailers, and somebody else, maybe it's 20 of different types of equipment, yes. Mm-hmm. And from one side, all this information should be organized in structured way, because when you have information in structure, in strict structure, we can use filtering, we can use search. So it's something which makes it possible for us to find the right equipment. But at the same time, when we tend to contain all this data, link it with an order, we will see that we need to work with all this different by his nature data, like with something which has something the same. So in our system, you can collect in the collection the data of different types, and it's one of the key difference, for example, from traditional relational database, for example. And here, when we can see edit, we can click edit record type and click record types here. We can see that in collection cranes, we have only one record type, which called crane. And all the properties are linked not to collection, but to the intermediate component, which called record type. And we can create in such many record types which we need, and set different properties for different types.
And set different relations to each other?
And then we can set a relation from other collection to this collection as one relation, one single relation.
I think these details we can consider more deep. For example, for next time, we can make some how-to lesson. Yeah.
Yes, that's was planned. Because it's very maybe it's much more complicated topic, because yes, there are a lot of non-obvious things also. Yeah.
Well, some small question which I have often from people who are managing some equipment. Is it possible to implement here some subsystem like a regular notification about maintenance time, when you have to change some spare parts, or when you have to make some maintenance procedures? Is it so easy here to make here?
Yeah, in our case, we have a few options. First of all, we have such features like computed fields. So yeah, and computed fields can update themselves not only when a record was modified, but also by the scheduling. So we can create, for example, a few computed fields for cover
for each procedure, maintenance procedure. Yeah.
Yes, we can create computed field which can automatically check the current date and compare it with date of planned maintenance procedures, which could be stored in another field, and for example, create change their value, or also can activate some automation scenario.
Yes.
And
For example, this is a good example. For example, I have the equipment, yeah, and in a certain moment I have to update my certification, yeah, for the, it's coming in. I know that each year I have to do it before 1st of April. I have to do it. So notification, I know that it takes 4 weeks before, to produce such a certificate. Then I make notification to supplier of these certificates, the company who can apply for this certificate for me. And then
yes,
sending a scenario, sending each 1st of March, for example, for particular units, sending message to the company will take care of that. It's the certificate updated for that thing.
yes. And when you create the scenario, as again, going back now, we have two different kinds of scenarios, like triggered scenario or scheduled scenario. Triggered scenario can run when data is changed, but scheduled scenario runs by schedule. And here we can set this field. We can use special notation for setup rules when we want to start this scenario. For example, here in this example, it means runs each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's 0:21. 0 hour 21 minutes. No, sorry, 21 hours, 0 minutes. So each day at 9 p.m. at Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, this scenario will be launched. And then this scenario, we can use blocks. For example, we can query, make a query to the database and select records. For example, select some equipment where we can some values in a property like next maintenance date or something like that. We can select equipment by the rules when we understand that for example we have a month to the next maintenance time. Yes, so we can select it, and then we can create an email which can collect this data, or how we can use the templates which we need, and send it to somebody who is responsible for that. More than that, we can build some very complex scenario, because as I already said, we can use also condition, such blocks like condition, loops, delay, for example. So we can send email. Then if we, for example, want that somebody who received this email, he should do some changes in the data, for example, like making some checks, upload some files or something like that. I don't know, it's specific for each particular business. So our scenario can wait, for example, 3 or 4 days, and like in sleep mode, then wake up and continue to do some checks, do this particular guy said this checks, something like that. And if yes, we can send one email, or if no, we can send another email to his boss, for example, something like that. So it could be a pretty complex scenario.
Okay, seems we can put some question for next time. Just welcome everybody who is looking this video. Yeah, just add your questions, and we will collect all these questions, and we will answer on this here on this page, or on this video, or just on the next time. So, have you some more questions?
Commercial question.
For example.
Commercial question. For example, of course, if I'm running such a database, of course, it's smaller without all these events, without whole management. I mean, without other examples. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my database is, yeah, I clearly see as example cranes, categories, orders. I mean, some other equipment which I have there. What will be your main point that I should choose your database?
Main point.
What will be your let's say what is your best site? What people should, why people should choose your product?
I don't sure that I understand the question.
If we solve this some problem and we solve your needs, is it okay for you? So why not choose this one? Of course, it could be possible to make everything by different systems. It could be custom solution, it could be SaaS solution, it could be combining solution, SaaS integrated with some custom solution. You can choose some different platforms, of course, and you can choose depends of your demands. You can select your pros and cons, and you can understand what is the most important for you. Is it important for you quick execution, or quick creating of this database, quick changing of this database and changing it on the fly? It could be some reason to choose this one. If you need some consultancy and you need to reach some special goals, for example, manage your system or exchange this data with your partners, put some of this data partly on the public website, put this part of this data on the restricted website where you can share some part of this data, hidden data, I mean, VIN number, some certificates, some hidden data which shouldn't be published on your website, but it could be depends on just restricted area for your customer. It could be also different kind of goal. So you can make a solution which solve few of your challenges, and it can be integrated with other different systems or subsystems. And yeah, of course, you can choose which other solution can be done for your goals. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if I answered your questions, but what do you say?
I would say that you explained exactly the same as I was explaining why I should choose your product. There was nothing to trigger me. There was few things which would trigger me, is simplicity and time. But if, for example, if I'm managing some equipment, I have crane company, because we've been working on this example, yeah, and my company is 10 years old. I have already some kind of system how I'm managing my planning and etc. Let's say it's Microsoft Dynamics or whatever. I need some kind of trigger why I should choose you for a new project, or for why I should choose to choose your product instead of running the old one. Especially if I have 10 people running with the old system, to change their attitude, to change their way of working, to choose your product. What would be the trigger to choose your product? There should be some kind of it should be without we can help everybody trying to help, and everybody offering help and saying, look, we can make customize, we can do this and that, but what's the main trigger to show to look, you have to jump on this and your system will run much faster and orders operated much faster.
Yeah, you're right, and I don't show about one single trigger, but we have a few, and we analyzed a lot of competitors also, and what we trying to do is to create the platform which will be really simple to work with, because even all different no code or low code platform or different ERP systems like that, they all are very complicated, and they need sometimes very another guys like integrators, like different consultants, which need a lot of time for building something like that. Here and in some systems, you can also create different data structures, but then you need to create some views with implemented of business logic. Then you need to create layouts and something like that. It's all of that is looking like programming, but just without writing the code. Yes, but concepts are very, very similar. We're trying to do the system when business guy and just another guy like the experienced user, for example, can sit together and create something right now, just in the browser, in real time, because it's very because the one of the biggest problem when you trying to find somebody like software outsourcing partner or something like that, you should write you have some expectations, you should write some documents with explanation of your idea and other. And in many cases, when you don't have something which you can touch by your hands, you cannot see you cannot see right picture. You have some imagination, but here you can just click on the buttons and create some structures, and from step by step your idea will be more and more mature, and then you can add some extra blocks on top of this idea and create something workable. And this platform does not limit you in does not add you some strict borders, because with working with external API, third party, it could be connected with many different systems, and could be also, and there could be also implemented some extra functionality where you need it.
Mm-hmm.
And another moment which very, very important, that you don't need to think about server infrastructure and something like that. For each customer, we starting the completely isolated environment, so there cannot be situation when information from one customer could be accessible from another customer. Each data is isolated quickly, and we doing automatically such sort of things like daily backups and security patches, updates, and something like that. So you just do not need to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It just works.
Okay, clear. More clear. More clear.
Well, some more questions?
Not right now, no.
Okay, great. Then, guys, thank you all very much for your time, for attention, and yeah, just if you will have some more questions, just put it here under the window, under the video, or on our page where you have visited it. And yeah, let's finish.
Okay.
So till the next time. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Yes. Bye.